Okay, so our second presentation is going to be about the benefits of community service. We are a community after all, and so community service is something that is important to a lot of us. So Angela Bartlett, who's going to be our next presenter, is going to be talking about community service and whether or not it should be a graduation requirement for high school students. So without further ado, Angela Bartlett.
Thank you. I'm a business teacher at South, and I watched a report last year on the news from Harvard that Harvard is now pushing other Ivy League colleges to consider weighing community service higher on their applications than extracurricular activities and other activities. So I decided to look into requiring community service as a graduation. So I wanted to point out the school district's mission statement. The Nashua School District, in collaboration with parents and in partnerships with the community, is committed to providing a high-quality education to all students in a safe, nurturing, and motivating environment dedicated to helping each student become a lifelong learner and a responsible, productive member of a rapidly changing society. So my rationale for promoting this is we would like to have well-rounded education that fosters the desire to become contributing members of a larger society in which they, the students, eventually will live and work, to help them develop the concern for others that is manifested by being a volunteer, and the self-satisfaction that comes from lending a helping hand to others. Some of the gains that they can get from being a volunteer: academic gains. Students who participate in community service have the opportunity to apply what they've learned in the classroom in real-world settings. On average, they do better in school as they see how the concepts they are learning can be applied in the real world. And volunteering is a great way to supplement subjects that have been covered in the classroom. They can improve their problem solving skills because often they're working through challenging situations and they have to learn how to better problem solve. The experiences offer a sense of pride in overcoming a challenge, and these skills can be transferred back to the classroom and future employment. Communication skills can be improved through working in real-world settings, allowing students to use their existing skills and build upon them. It helps them improve their ability to follow instructions and build personal attributes that enable them to interact effectively and harmoniously with others. They can increase their sense of self-efficacy by better understanding their own competencies and allowing them to build more self-confidence. And they can help them develop a can-do attitude that can spread back to the classroom and other academic pursuits. They can work on team building skills by allowing them to work in different disciplines with different backgrounds and expertise to accomplish a task or a goal. Another way that it helps students is it allows them to explore future careers and to build a network and allow them to build relationships in the community that could help them in the future. Some of the statistics that I discovered in my research is currently 9.75% of the public schools in New Hampshire have a graduation requirement. The average hours are 32 and a half, with the highest being 40 for their entire high school career and the lowest being 20. The largest school district that requires graduation requirement has 1,300 students in it, which is comparable to each of our high schools, and they experienced a 0.13 increase from the previous year in their dropout rate, a decrease in their dropout rate. Participants in schools required community service were 22% more likely to graduate from college. Volunteering students were more likely to have improved reading, math, and science scores. Students who performed community service were 19% more likely to graduate from college, and they're more likely to vote. My recommendation is to support our mission statement that we require 20 hours of community service, 5 per year, for students to graduate. So all the students would perform 5 each year. The service learning enhances personal character, academic achievement, and most importantly, participation for becoming an engaged citizen. This can be achieved by volunteering services at any nonprofit, religious, civic, school service club that meets the service hours, and any other services should be approved by a service learning coordinator prior to completing the work. And I have a handout, and I came up with just a basic, which I've already handed out to. If you turn to the 3rd page, it's a basic protocol, just a starting sample of what students could expect and what kind of activities they could participate in to achieve this. And I know that we have a large free and reduced lunch population, but at our high school at South, there are many clubs that are service-based, which students could participate in, and they could complete their hours without even having to leave the school. And as you can see on the forms, students would be required to write a brief statement as to why they chose the organization they chose and what they learned from that organization. And then my last slide is just my works cited. Are there any questions?
Just thinking maybe to perhaps as a pilot thing, you could see how it goes. We could actually make like a kind of like an extra diploma. You know, we have different diplomas. You could have like a service learning diploma that is with the regular one, just to see the participation level. To see, and then once you have the infrastructure to really carry out the volunteering piece, you can make it mandatory maybe as a first step. I don't know, it's an idea.
No.
I'm wondering how many students currently do volunteer work in the high schools that it's not being recorded anywhere.
A lot of the honor societies at South require students already to complete 10 hours a year.
Nice, so they actually are over that.
And my proposal would be 5 hours to just start it out.
Yeah.
There was an, yes.
I was going to say, does your principal, Keith Richard, have you talked to him about this? Has he approved this?
Actually, I haven't shared my presentation with him yet.
I think he'd be about it.
So, yes.
I'm Jeff House, National Teachers Union Vice President, and I'm also on the board of the United Way of Greater Nashua as a representative for the community. There are lots of times when the United Way, for example, and I'm sure other organizations would love to have students come in and volunteer, but they require that they bring an adult with them. So in your work, did you think of any ways that we could facilitate off-site community service with one adult and a group of students who want to say package food, which was something they did back in April at United Way, or community garden stuff, which would be of interest to many students, but they can't just go volunteer on their own. The United Way will not allow them because of their regulations.
Yeah, just from my years of experience, there's a lot of details that need to get worked out, and like anything, it can be done.
Yeah.
Like this to me, is very, very powerful because it's really not costing anything. It's impacting the students. We know that we get our information from the people we want to get the information from. I'm going to watch Fox News, I want to hear about it. I'm going to watch MSNBC because I want to hear somebody who's thinking like I am. We are so spread apart. You know, another example is about citizenship. Should that be a required course? I think that's going to come up today. Kids are, all they're involved with is their phone. They're isolated. You know, it used to be the 3 R's, 4 R's. You know, to me, this is so easy, so powerful. You know, sometimes you just got to do it. You know, so I want to thank you very much, Angie.
you.
What a tremendous presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wait, that's okay.
You know, I'm thinking, that's so powerful, those statistics. So it's 19% more likely to graduate from college. And what was the percentage about voting?
There was no percentage, just that they were more likely to vote.
So, 2 questions. I'm curious if there are any middle schools that plant seeds of getting kids to do on a lesser scale. And the second question I have is, you know, we might be able to benchmark internally, because I know the CTE programs have kids that go out, like automotive, the kids go out and work in garages on internships.
And career, the childcare.
Yes, exactly. So I think that there are probably footprints already that will make it feel a little less cumbersome and hopefully more hopeful to happen.
And I think with E-Block, and maybe some of the E-Block teachers might not like this, but with E-Block, I think it provides a great opportunity because you have an E-Block teacher that you have a connection with these kids for 4 years, and you can easily give them the forms, talk to them about the forms. I put a coordinator just because I needed a term, but that coordinator doesn't have to be one person for the entire school. It could be multiple people for the school.
You know, I think, I'm sorry, we're going to have to move on to the next presentation. One last comment about this. You know, lifelong learners. I mean, a lot of mission statements for schools are, let's make sure our students are lifelong learners. So how can you be a lifelong learner if you're in a cubicle all the time? Something like this, just do it and get better. I want to really congratulate Angela.
She's got one question though. We really need to let her real quick.
She
real quick.
was very nervous about doing this, and you know, teachers push themselves. They push themselves because they want to get better, and it's been a negotiation. So really exceptional, well done. One more question.
One more question.
Just a comment too, Angela, I'm not sure if you're aware, but a lot of, as a coach in the district, we're required to have the kids do, in the high school, do community service as well. So a lot of kids do the MSR.
And the penguin plunge.
Penguin plunge, things like that. So there is a lot going on behind the scenes. I just want to add that to it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Great job.
Thank you.